If you want to close 5 or 6 figure deals directly in your DMs, there's only one funnel that you need to be using to monetize. It's called the dossier funnel. And once you install it into your business, you'll be able to sell your high ticket offer without being well known, without having to post tons of content, and without needing a large sales team. And I know this because I enrolled 64 clients at $16,000 each, all in the DMs using the dossier funnel, with the average client going from stranger to client in 72 hours. So in this video today, I'm going to give you the 3 phases of the dossier funnel, why it works, how it works, and more importantly, how you can install it into your business today. But before I explain the dossier funnel, I need you to understand the psychology behind why somebody will give you 10, 15, 20, or even $50,000 directly in the DMs without ever talking to you, because it goes counterintuitive to everything we've ever been taught about needing sales calls in order to close high ticket clients. We've all seen this meme, right? The $500 client versus the $50,000 client. What people don't tell you is that the difference between these two people isn't just how much they're paying, it's certainty. Look at the language. People with certainty move quickly, even when they're dealing with large amounts of money. People who lack certainty, they move slowly, even with small amounts of money. And not understanding this concept of certainty and how it affects the behavior of people with money nearly cost me a $56,000 deal. I had this call with a guy called Joe, and I remember going through his application. It was one of those applications that looked terrible. One-word answers, didn't look like he put a lot of effort into it. And in my head, I was like, this is gonna be a complete waste of time. But I needed to hit my sales target for that week, so I took the call anyway. So I get on the call, I'm doing my thing, I'm going through my scripts, and then Joe just stops me like halfway through it and goes, mate, listen, I've watched your videos, I've watched your VSL. The only reason I booked this call is because I couldn't find anywhere for me to pay you. Are you still accepting clients or are you completely full? We went on to sign a $56,000 deal on that call. Now, Joe wasn't ready just because he had money. Joe was ready because he was certain. He'd consumed my content, he'd watched my VSL. He was certain that I could help him solve his problem. And here's the thing about people who are certain. They move fast. They don't have dozens of questions. They don't want to wait 3 days to get on a call. They don't want all that friction. When they know that you can help them, they just want a clean path to a decision. And so here I was thinking that the call was actually helping me, but the call was slowing him down. So the funnel I'm going to show you today does 2 things. Firstly, it engineers certainty so that the prospects don't need convincing. Secondly, it removes friction so that buyers with money can pay you quickly. Now, there are 3 phases to the dossier funnel. Step 1, engineering certainty. Step 2, the filter. And then step 3, the dossier. If at any point you want me and my team to install this directly into your business, there's a link in the description. But without further ado, let's dive into phase 1. So phase 1 is engineering certainty. And this is where the buyer becomes certain you can actually help them. Not just interested or curious, but actually certain. And the best way that I've seen to create certainty for buyers with money is a 15 to 25 minute VSL that lives on YouTube or landing page. Here's the most important thing that I want you to understand about high ticket sales. People don't buy when they believe you can help. They buy when they're certain you can help. And in 2026, certainty is one of the scarcest resources because we've all seen it. Testimonials can be faked. People are renting Lambos. AI can write pretty much anyone's content. Your buyers are skeptical of absolutely everything. And when they're skeptical of everything, the question then becomes not how do I convince them, but how do I make them certain? So what most people try and do is they try and create certainty through information so that their VSLs and their content just become information and value dumps. They do way too much teaching. Their VSL turns into an educational tutorial of 45 minutes where it's just like step by step, how to do this, how to do A, how to do B, how to do X, how to do Y. They think that if I just give my audience more information, if I just give them more value, that they will trust me more. But that's not how certainty works. Information alone doesn't create certainty anymore because information is a commodity. Any information that you can teach in a VSL, your prospect can go and get the same answer from ChatGPT in 30 seconds, or they can watch 100 YouTube videos and find that same information. That's why information-heavy VSLs attract buyers who need convincing, or they make people want to go off and try it themselves before taking action. So what actually creates certainty is insight. Insight is where you show them their problem in a way they've never seen before. It's when you explain the why behind their situation, not just the what. It's when they get that aha moment and they think to themselves, this is the first time that somebody's actually explaining why I'm having this problem. That's the moment the certainty happens. Not because you gave them more information, but because you gave them clarity on why they're experiencing the problem that they have. Information is, here's how you fix your problem. Insight is, here's why you're having that problem, and here's why everything you tried before hasn't worked. Information is going to attract people that need convincing, whereas insight attracts people who are certain and ready to make a decision. So your VSL needs to do 2 things. First, it needs to demonstrate you can actually do what you claim, because as you know, most people say they can do something, but can they actually show it? And if you can demonstrate skill, right, not just give information, that removes all doubt that you can actually do the thing that you can say. When you demonstrate skill, someone watching you doesn't think, I wonder if that guy's legit. They're like, yeah, that person knows what they're talking about because you've demonstrated that skill. This is why you rarely see the best entrepreneurs, the best marketers have testimonials or reviews. Like how many times have you seen Alex Hormozy or like Tony Robbins with testimonials? They don't need it because what they're constantly doing is demonstrating the expertise through their skill. This is also why you see so much more content now on Instagram, which is like raw and yappy, because when you can just speak off the cuff, that demonstrates you know what you're talking about. You can't fake that. Same reason on YouTube, you're seeing a lot more of the bigger entrepreneurs and the marketers and the creators, they're seeing them do live streams, because if you can sit there and you can talk to the camera for 2 hours about a specific topic, you can't fake that. And that's the shift that you're seeing into the marketplace. People are looking for certainty. And those type of mediums where you can demonstrate skill, that removes all doubt that you know what you're talking about. The second thing is that your VSL needs to create a perspective shift, a new way of seeing their situation that makes your solution inevitable. Buyers don't want more information. They don't want to be taught things. They want things to be simplified, and your VSL should take a problem that your prospect is dealing with, break down the why behind it, simplify it so it's easy to understand, and then give them a new way of seeing their situation. When you do that, you're no longer convincing anyone, you're engineering certainty in that prospect. Let me illustrate this to you by showing you two of my VSLs. The first VSL on the left is 34 minutes, and the angle of this VSL was 5 strategies for scaling stores past $1 million. And it had 5 sections in this VSL. How to acquire customers at scale, how to get customers to buy more than once, how to improve website conversion rate, how to do desire-driven advertising, and then the 6 KPIs you should be tracking. So it's a very information-dense VSL, lots of teaching in it. And this VSL, the call to action was book a 45-minute free strategy session, and the VSL generated $288,000. So pretty decent VSL, right? Made some good money. But then we rewrote the VSL. And the new one was 12 minutes long, and the angle was why your brand is stuck at 500 KPS. So you can see we're focusing on why they're stuck. And it only had 3 sections. Why brands get stuck, inside my ad account, how we can help. Much, much shorter VSL. And the CTA was DM me if you want us to help, and this one generated just over $1 million. Now, both VSLs were selling the same offer, but this one was focused on information, while this one was focused on insight. And the difference was almost 4 times more revenue for the second VSL versus the first VSL. So that's phase 1. We use the video sales letter to engineer certainty. But certainty isn't a sale. You could absolutely nail the VSL, but if you don't understand this next step, they're still not going to buy it. So that takes us into phase 2. Phase 2 is the filter, and this is where you filter for the clients that you actually want to work with. Just because somebody's certain that I can help them doesn't necessarily mean they're a right fit. They might not be qualified, they might not be ready, some people just aren't a match. The great thing about this funnel is when we install the filter, which I'll show you in just a sec, is that you can actually be selective about who you work with, and this whole thing happens automatically. So here's the problem. Most people turn their DMs into a mini sales call. They ask a dozen questions, they diagnose, they explain, they persuade, they essentially reintroduce all the friction they were trying to remove. People with money don't want a dozen questions back and forth. They're ready to go and just want a fast, clean path to the decision. So in this funnel, when somebody DMs you after going through your VSL, instead of putting them through a mini sales call, which is what some people do in the DMs, they actually go into an automated mini chat flow, which is powered by AI. Let me walk you through one right now. So this example that you're seeing on screen right now is one that we installed for a client of ours who is in the CEO coaching niche. And if every filtering process, we're trying to find 4 things. Fit, is this right for them? So are they qualified? Problem, do they actually have the issue that we solve for? Urgency, is it a priority for them right now? And then intent, are they ready to make a decision? Are they ready to move forward? Those are the 4 most important questions when it comes to filtering out the type of clients that you want. And this automation will identify based on their questions, either which dossier they need to get or whether we actually want to work with them or not. So I'm not going to show you the entire thing. I'll do a separate video on actually how to set up a ManyChat funnel. But let me just show you some examples of what those questions look like. So this fit question is customized based on the industry, based on the niche, based on the client. But for this particular client, it was which describes your company right now, and then you give them 3 options. And then you move over to the problem question. Where does most of the operational pressure sit today? And as you can see, for every question, we want to give them 3 options. Then for urgency, we're asking if this stayed the same over the next 90 days, which concerns you the most? And this is one of the most important questions, because if you know how they feel about staying where they are, that's going to determine whether they actually have the intent to move forward or not. Because no amount of pitching, sales tactics, marketing, personal branding, none of that can make somebody who doesn't have an urgent problem actually move forward and give you any money. And then finally, intent. And this just tells us if this is the type of person who actually takes action or not. And for this particular example, when you identify a better way to operate, what usually happens? And again, we give them 3 options. So that's fit, problem, urgency, intent. If we get the answers that we want, we send them to the relevant dossier. If we don't, we disqualify them and move on. So think about what the funnel has done at this stage. Every single conversation I have is with someone who's certain I can help because they've watched the VSL. They're qualified because they've gone through the ManyChat automation, and they're informed because they've read the dossier, which I'll walk you through in just a sec. Let me show you the difference that this makes. These are some of my DMs before I installed the dossier funnel. This guy comes in and said, hey, I saw your ad about scaling e-com stores, ask a couple questions, leaves me on red, guy just ghosts. Here's another one. Guy comes in, says, hey, love your stuff, man. Been following you for a minute. Nice message. Ask me a couple of questions about AOV. Go back and forth. He ends it with, yeah, I'll just keep watching your free content for now. So he's not really interested in getting coaching, just wants some free content. Here's another guy comes in, hey, I've been thinking about getting help scaling for a while. Think I'm almost ready to pull the trigger. How many times have you got those type of messages when someone says, hey, I've been thinking about getting coaching. I've been thinking about getting help. I'm almost ready to pull the trigger. Go for a couple of questions. He ends up with, yeah, maybe. Let me have a couple more good months to think about it. Do you ever think he came back? No, of course he didn't. Now, here's what my DMs look like after installing this funnel. And I want you to pay very close attention to the dates. So January 21st, this guy comes in. Hey, Chin, what's your Facebook ads offer about? Is it done with you or is it done for you? Go through some back and forth. Drop the price at $13,000 for done for you. January 24th at 11:29. So 3 days later. Let's do the done for you, paid, looking forward to this. So that's 3 days to go from first contact to $13,000 deal directly in the DMs. Let me show you another one. So this guy, October 24th is when he reaches out. I'd be interested to know about your e-commerce accelerator program. I give him some details and send him over to the dossier, send him to the doc. He's got some questions. He goes through the automated funnel. It qualifies him, so I know he's a good fit. He says, please send me whatever link I need to sign up and pay the deposit. Send him the payment link. That's October 25th, 6:35. So first contact, October 24th. A day later, 16K directly to DMs. Same audience, same offer, but after installing this funnel, the type of DMs and conversations I'm having are completely different. I went from people wasting my time, people not being serious, people not being qualified, to people going from, hey, interested, to giving me 13K, 16K, high ticket sales directly in DMs in 24 to 72 hours. Think about what your business will look like once you install this funnel. No more ghosting, no more tire kickers, no more 45-minute sales calls unless you want to. It's just a completely different type of business. Someone watches your VSL, goes through your dossier, and then DMs you, hey, I'm ready. Send me the link, let's go. That's the power of this thing. And so that was phase 2 we just finished, which automatically qualifies and filters the type of clients that you want to work with. But now they've got a dossier. The question is, what do you actually put into the dossier that gets them to reach out to you and say, yep, I'm in, where can I pay? Let's go over that in phase 3. Phase 3 is a dossier, and this is a decision document, because by now, this is somebody who's watched your VSL, they're certain you can help, they've been qualified through your automated filtering process inside of the DMs. Think about what happens on the back end of a sales call once you've actually qualified the person you're speaking to and you've diagnosed the problem and you know that you can help. You walk them through the program, what they get, what's involved, how they get started, the pricing, handling any objections that they may have. The dossier is basically all of that just done in writing. And so when they've read the dossier, there's no more questions, they just need to decide. And here's what actually goes into that dossier. You start off with who this is for and who it's not for, what they get, how it works, so that's your process step by step, any unique mechanisms you might have. The price and terms stated clearly. It's very important you put the price in there. No book a call to find out. You want to make sure that when they've read it, they know exactly how much it's going to cost so you don't get any tire kickers or any time wasters. And then finally, how to start and exactly what to do next. When someone's gone through this document, at the end of it, it's a very binary decision, yes or no. On the screen right now is the exact dossier that I used to enroll 64 clients at $16,000. And the great thing about it is its simplicity, it's its clarity. It does the job of the sales call without you having to do all of that work. Now, once they've read it and they come back and tell you that, hey, I'm interested, the close is pretty simple. You just say, all right, well, great. Here's where we can get started. Here's the payment link. Go ahead and pay, and you just take them through your onboarding. The close itself is really simple once they've gone through the process of this funnel. Now, I just want to make one thing clear, because this happened recently when we installed this funnel for a client, and on the coaching call, he was asking me, Chin, what do I do if I've sent someone a dossier and they want to get on a call? Now, look, have to have some nuance here. If somebody wants to give me $50,000 to $100,000, but they want to have a quick chat before they do that, I'll happily hop on a call, right? It's not a sales call at that point. It's just an order taking call. So you are still free to get on calls with people if they just want to chat to you first or just find out a little bit more questions, make themselves a little bit more comfortable before pulling the trigger. But now you know it's not a sales call. They already know the price. They already have all the objections. That call just becomes some logistics, ironing out a few details. It's not like, should I do this? It's more like, hey, what do we need to do before we get started? So that's phase 3. The dossier gives them the details, they decide, they reply with I'm ready, you send them the payment link. So let's tie all of this together. The VSL creates certainty. So instead of posting every day for 6 months, hoping that the right person sees the right content at the right time, you create one concentrated asset that demonstrates that you understand their problem better than they do. The DM filter filters for the clients you want on autopilot. Instead of going back and forth in the DMs, trying to figure out if someone's serious or trying to figure out if they're qualified, the system asks the right questions, sends you the people that are qualified, and filters out all the rest. Then you've got the dossier, which gets qualified prospects to commit. Instead of spending 45 minutes explaining what's included, walking through the pricing and handling objections, you send a 2 to 3 page document that answers every single question. They read it, they decide if they want to move forward. And then finally, the close just becomes the close. It's order taken at this point. By the time you get there, the heavy lifting's already done. You're not convincing anyone. You're presenting the next step to someone who's already certain. And that's the entire funnel. Once you've installed it, imagine waking up to DMs every single day with people saying, I've watched your VSL, I've read your dossier, I'm ready to go, where can I pay? It changes your entire business, and that's exactly what happened to me when I installed this funnel. You can still do sales calls if you want, but if you bolt this funnel onto your business, you're gonna give people with money a path to move quickly and pay you directly in the DMs. Now, if you don't want to figure all this out by yourself, me and my team will do the whole thing for you. We'll install this entire funnel into your business in just 14 days. We'll script your VSL, we will install your ManyChat automation, we will write your dossier, we'll do the whole thing, delivered to you in just 14 days. The link's in the description for more details. Click it, see if you qualify, and let's have a chat if you want us to do this for you. I also dropped a link to an example dossier if you guys want to check that out as well. But that's it from me in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This dossier funnel, that's how I enrolled 64 clients at $16,000 each directly in the DMs. Go ahead, try it out, or let me and my team do it for you. My name's Chin Gregory. God bless, take care, and I'll catch you in the next video.